Hello, good evening, ma'am. My name is Abdul Nurhani, student nurse from Southeast University, and now I will be assessing the abdominal assessment. So, first one is we're gonna gather all the equipment. The equipment is stethoscope, alcohol, and tape measure. So now I will introduce myself to the head, mom, ikan to. Mom, can you tell me your name, birthday, and age?
My name is Erica Joy E. Tambay. My age is 18 years old.
Okay, ma'am, kahiyon ka? Di. Sige, ma'am, pwede niyo i-remove yung clothes or yung salinaw. Then, pwede ka mo ikat supine position.
So, first is prior to procedure. Ano yun? Hindi mo siya, ano to? Kami na magsobo
Sige,
na.
ganun to. Sige. First one is, I'm gonna perform a hand hygiene.
So, prior to procedure, when assessing the abdomen, instead of following the IPPA technique, for the abdomen, we will do the IAPP, which is inspection, auscultation, percussion, and then lastly, the palpation. So, first is observe the coloration of the skin. So normally, the abdominal skin is paler than the general skin tone because this skin is seldom exposed to the natural elements. For the abnormal findings, purple discoloration at the flanks indicates bleeding within the abdominal wall. And we also have jaundice, pale stretched skin, redness may indicate inflammation, and bruises or areas of local discoloration.
Next is inspect for any scars.
So, for the client, normally the client doesn't have any scars, but new stray are pink or bluish in color. Old stray is silvery, white, linear and uneven stretch marks from past pregnancies or weight gain. And for the normal findings, dark, bluish pink stray are associated with Cushing syndrome, metabolic disorder.
So assess for any lesions and rashes.
So normally the client's abdomen is free of lesions or rashes. And for the normal findings, bleeding, moles, or petechiae, reddish or purple lesions may be present.
Next is inspect the umbilicus area.
So normally the umbilical skin tones are similar to surrounding abdominal skin tones or even pinkish. For the abnormalities, a deviated umbilicus may be caused by pressure from a mass, enlarged organs, hernia, fluid, or scar tissue.
Next is to assess the abdominal contour.
So the client's abdomen is rounded And a generalized protuberant or distended abdomen is considered abnormal.
Next is assess for the abdominal symmetry.
So normally the abdomen is symmetric. For abnormal findings, asymmetry may be seen with organ enlargement, large masses, hernia, diastasis, recti, or bowel obstruction.
Next is observe for the abdominal aortic position.
So, a slight pulsation of the abdominal aorta in the epigastrium is present, which is normal. For abnormal findings, vigorous, wide, exaggerated pulsations may be seen with abdominal aortic aneurysm. Next is observe peristaltic waves. So normally, peristaltic waves are not seen. For abnormal findings, peristaltic waves are increased and progress in a ripple-like fashion from the left upper quadrant to the right lower quadrant with intestinal obstruction. So now, with the auscultation.
The first one is we're gonna warm the stethoscope, the diaphragm. We're gonna auscultate for the vowel sounds in the right lower quadrant.
So normally, a series of intermittent soft clicks and gargles are heard at a rate of 5 to 30 minutes. Hyperactive vowel sounds referred to as borborygmus may be heard. And for the abnormal findings, hyperactive vowel sounds that are rushing, tingling, and high pitch may be abnormal, indicating very rapid motility heard in early bowel obstruction. Bowel obstruction, yes.
Next is we're gonna auscultate for the vascular sounds.
So normally, Broways are not heard over the client's abdominal aorta, or renal iliac, or femoral arteries. For abnormal findings, Broways may indicate an aneurysm or renal arterial stenosis.
Next is we're gonna auscultate for the friction rub over the liver and spleen.
So normally, no friction rub over liver or spleen is present. For abnormal findings, if here they are high pitch, rough, grating sound, heard over the lower right costal area, and is associated with hepatic abscess or metastasis.
Next is we're gonna percuss for tone in all the quadrants.
So there is a generalized tympany predominated over the abdomen, and dullness is heard over the liver and spleen. For abnormal findings, accentuated tympany or hyperresonance is heard over a gaseous distended abdomen, and an enlarged area of dullness is heard over an enlarged liver or spleen.
Next one is we're gonna percuss the span height liver determines lower upper bolus.
So for this assessment, it requires the patient to expose the private area, which is the breast. So we will skip this assessment and we will proceed to percussing the spleen instead. So after percussing the spleen is an oval area of dullness approximately 7 centimeters wide near the 10th rib, which is normal. And for abnormal findings, splenomegaly is characterized by an area of dullness greater than 7 centimeters wide.
Next is we're gonna perform the blood percussion on the liver and kidneys.
So while performing the blunt percussion over the liver and the kidneys, normally there are no tenderness elicited or reported by the client. And for the abnormal findings, tenderness elicited over the liver and tenderness or sharp pain elicited over the costovertebral angle suggest kidney, renal calculi, or hydrophenosis, or inflammation or infection.
Next is we're gonna palpate for the liver.
So normally the abdomen is non-tender and soft and there is no guarding. For abnormal findings, involuntary reflex guarding may reflect peritoneal irritation. The abdomen is rigid and the rectus muscle fails to relax with palpation when the client exhales. Next is deeply palpate all quadrants to delineate abdominal organs and detect subtle masses. So mild tenderness is possible over the xiphoid, aorta, cecum, sigmoid colon, and ovaries with deep palpation, but normally the client doesn't report any tenderness. And for the abnormal findings, severe tenderness or pain may be related to trauma, peritonitis, infection, and tumors. Next is palpate for masses. While palpating the quadrants, I have also observed that there are no palpable masses present, and a mass detected in any quadrant may be due to a tumor, cyst, enlarged organ, and aneurysm is considered abnormal.
So next is palpate for the umbilicus area.
So normally the umbilicus and surrounding area are free of swellings, bulges, or masses. For abnormal findings, a soft center of the umbilicus can be a potential for herniation.
Next is we're gonna palpate the liver and note for the palpate the aorta.
Yes, palpate the aorta. So normally the aorta is 2.5 to 3 centimeters wide with a moderately strong and regular pulse. For abnormal findings, a wide bounding pulse may be felt with an abdominal aortic aneurysm.
So palpate for the liver and note for the consistency and the tenderness. Sakit na.
So the liver is usually not palpable and the client doesn't report any tenderness. And for abnormal findings, a hard, firm liver may indicate cancer.
Next is palpate the split.
So the split is seldomly palpable at the left costal margin, which is normal. And for abnormal findings, a palpable spleen suggests enlargement up to 3 times the normal size, which may result from infection, trauma, chronic blood disorders, and cancer.
So the next one is we're gonna palpate the kidneys.
So normally the kidneys are usually not palpable. If it is palpated, it should be firm, smooth, and rounded. For abnormal findings on enlarged kidney may be due to a cyst, tumor, or hydrophenosis.
Next is we're gonna palpate the urinary bladder.
So an empty bladder is neither palpable nor tender, which is normal. And for abnormal findings, a distended bladder is palpated as a smooth, round, and somewhat firm mass extending as far as the umbilicus.
Next one is we're gonna assist the client. So we're gonna put the position and do the hand hygiene and document and the referral for the findings.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.